Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to talk to you guys.
And I just wanted to ask how the idea for this acoustic tour came about.
The idea came from the record, which the record came from just an idea that someone at our label had to do a fan based contest to where fans picked 10 songs and Brent and I would just go cover them acoustically. And basically, so they picked 10, we picked 10. We put them in a pot against each other on Facebook, and we got the polls. And yeah, and so we ended up going in and making the record in 2 days and doing videos of it as well. And it went so well that we ended up putting it out and naming it Smith and Myers. And we had never gotten to tour on it, but we had gotten to do a couple of shows, and it was something that we wanted to tour on, but at the end of the last record cycle for Amaryllis, we didn't get to. So when we had like a small break after this Breaking Benjamin co-headline tour, we decided to come and do it, and it's been fun. Almost every show's been sold out, so it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so what's been the most fun part of doing this, you think?
It's the there's no script and there's no real way that we do the show every night. It's a completely different show every single night. We change the set list drastically, so I think the changing of the set list is my favorite part because in Shinedown we can't do that as much as I'd want to because of pyro and video and all the elements of the big arena show. You can't spring on a pyro guy that you're going to change the set list, that night and go, well, this is completely flipped around. So this show, it's completely every night is polar opposite from the night before. So it's been a lot of fun changing the set list, and then just the fact that hearing the crowd sing along because it's such smaller. We just got out of enormo domes, so it's like seeing the crowd in these smaller venues. Most of these venues are 1,000 seaters, 1,500 seaters. So seeing the crowd and hearing them sing along is probably the most fun. So the set list and the crowd are probably my favorite parts of it.
And in your opinion, I mean, how does Brent shine on this? Because I'm sure it's, a lot of times when you're playing with a band, you have the other instrumentation to sort of back you up, or you have, you could maybe hide a little bit better than you can in this scenario.
I think that I've said from day one that there's something that people gravitate towards too when it's Brent's voice and one instrument, like Brent's voice and a guitar, Brent's voice and a piano. And there's always been something amazing about that. Like there's a certain timbre that comes out of his voice when it's just him singing along to what's there, and I just think it's amazing for the crowd to hear. And I think that's why the shows sell so well as well, because people want to hear that. I think ever since Simple Man, it's kind of been this thing to where his voice and a guitar is a big deal, and people like to hear it. So I think it's really cool, and I think that the crowd enjoys it too. And we tell a lot of stories. It's very much a storyteller's tour.
Yeah, yeah. And so how long did it, obviously the Stone Temple Pilots covers making the rounds. I mean,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
long did it take for you guys to get that together? That's part A, and part B, just thoughts on Wyland
Um, it did. We didn't have long to get it together because he died the night before the tour started. So I had heard from Dave Navarro that he had passed, and then what happened was I texted Brent and said we should open on Big Empty tomorrow, just as like a 1 day tribute to Scott, because our band was heavily influenced by that band, not in our music, but just as people. We loved that band, and so we did it, and it kind of, the internet now is the internet, and once we did it, it kind of blew up, and it kind of became this thing, and people were asking if we do it. So we've been continuing to do it, and actually tonight we were going to start taking it out, and two of our crew people were like, "No, you can't take it out. It's too good." And we were like, "All right, well." So I think we're going to continue doing it for the rest of the tour. It is a nice tribute, and we have a memory with that song being that we played the first show Stone Temple Pilots did of their reunion tour, and that's what they opened on. And my thoughts on the Scott thing are, it's just a tragic thing. I've seen all the things that people wrote or have written, and his ex-wife and what she wrote, and they're all powerful things. You know, you just try to keep the music alive, and the fact that what he did when he was alive, and you know, in the last while, was it a mess? Sure, but I said earlier in an interview today that when that guy showed up, mentally and physically, when he showed up to play a rock show, he was the best since Freddie Mercury. I mean, like, honestly, like, there was no one better than him. That guy was you know, I said it on Twitter, we lost a rock star. You know, and there's not a lot of rock stars left. And rock stars are I'm not a rock star. No one in my band's a rock star. I'm friends with Nikki Sixx. He's a rock star. Tommy Lee, they're rock stars. Those are my only two rock star friends. You know, like, you know, and then you got your Aerosmiths and your Rolling Stones and your George Harrisons and Paul McCartneys, but who else? You know, it's like we lost a part of what we do that day. Everybody, and you know, it was just those things happen, and they happen too soon, and you know, everyone talks about what a tragedy is until the next time it happens. So I hope it woke a lot of people up in their own lives, you know.
And you know, I mean, I think that he probably didn't have the support that he needed to finally kick that. And I know, you know, in your band, you've had problems in the past. What kind of shook the band, and how did you guys sort of step to attention to support each other through tough times like that? We all had our own addictions in our band, and
everybody had kind of beaten them pre-Amaryllis, but before the touring cycle for Amaryllis started, I think this is kind of widely known now, but we had a big kind of come to Jesus meeting with the four of us. It wasn't supposed to be that. It was only supposed to be a 30-minute. We've been away from each other ever since we made the record. We hadn't seen each other. We'd taken 5 months off, and we were going to tour now, and it ended up being this 5-hour conversation of us four some kind of monster-ish sitting in a room and just letting it all out, and at points screaming at each other and crying and telling each other, you know, how we felt about what this person did or what we did, and the finger got pointed at everyone. And you know what? It's about not ridiculing the person that falls down. It's about picking the person that falls down up. And I think once they get picked up enough in a healthy way, they stop on their own. And that's kind of been what our band has been. You know, Brent's addictions aren't secret. You know, they've been out in the world, and he's fought them. And I think that the three of us and his parents and his kid are what keep him going every day. You know, I've never seen a stronger willed person deal with addiction the way he has. And so it's just about being there for each other. You know, I'm in a band with my three best friends, and they would all say the same. You know, so it's rare these days to get along as a band as well as we do. So it's something I'm very thankful for every day.
And talk about, you know, the mindset of the other guys in the band. I mean, did you have to smooth things over so you guys could go and do this, or, you know, where was that left with the other guys?
Oh no, they're perfectly happy with the break. They're both fishing right now. They're stoked to be off. I promise you. We could ask them to come out on this right now. They'd be like, "No, you guys are all good. Go ahead." No, it's they understand that we've released an EP and we never got to tour on it, you know. So we're doing it. There's no ill will about us doing this. They're very happy we're out here doing this, and they're very happy that they're at home and we have to be out here. So no, it's nothing like that. I've never heard a backdoor comment about it, you know, once the door shuts and I'm not in the room anymore. So I think you know what that is, though, is our band as far as our communication goes is bar none. You know, we communicate with each other better than any band I've ever seen. When there's a problem, it is solved swiftly and immediately.
Yeah. And reflecting 10 years since Us and Them, what do you recall about making that?
Us and Them, for me, was the touring cycle for Us and Them was dark. I remember I've joined the band. I've been in the band almost 11 years now. So I remember joining the band, and the first thing I remember are the shows, playing the shows, and just the addictions that were, you know, that was like The middle of the Us and Them tour was the thick of it. I mean, it was brutal, man. It was, you know, I'm putting my finger under Brent's nose to see if he's alive at the end of the night, because everybody was just going for it, and there's nobody saying to tell us to stop going for it. Everybody, the crew, everybody. It was, we were all in it, So I've never done a drug in my life, so I was drinking pretty heavily at the time, but just being around all these drug addicts was like, it was weird, and it makes me thankful for being in the band with who I'm in the band with now, and Brent's health. It makes me thankful that Jason is in a much better place, and that those relationships are healed. We just saw Jason the other night in Nashville. He's great. Him and Brent talked for the first time. That was great. And that Brad's healthy, and I think he's doing the saliva thing now. And I'm just glad that everyone's kind of on like a good page with each other, because even after everyone's healthy and everything, like there was always like a little bit of a weight on all of our shoulders with the Jason and the Brad thing. And now I think most of it's been resolved for the most part.
Yeah, great. And another, not to dwell on the negative.
Yeah.
Obviously, the whole Paris thing to me
Yeah.
shook me to the core. How has that changed your mindset or the band's mindset, or how they approach touring or going overseas?
I mean, for me, until that happened, going overseas and playing shows felt like the safest thing to do. The gun laws over there are insanely strict. And so it's just something you don't think about. And, you don't ever think about that. You don't go to work. For us, this is work. This is our job. Going on stage is stepping into the office, and you don't go into the office thinking that someone's going to come in and be such a coward. You know what I mean? And like, that's not a war. That's being a f***ing coward. That's going in and killing people who wanted to have fun, and they didn't see it coming, and they couldn't fight back because they didn't know you were f***ing coming. And you're a f***ing coward for that. And when you go in and you do that, it just makes me so mad, because it's these women and these children that want to come in, and all they want to do is forget about their week they had of work or whatever, and they want to watch a band play. And the fact that you took that away from people, and you caused this, even if only for a second of doubt, it's ridiculous. And I don't think it's not hindering us from touring. I know we'll be in Europe all of June, so I know that we're going to be over there. We'll be in the UK in January and February, so I'm looking forward to getting back over there. I mean, I think it's a big part of what we do, and I think it's a tragedy, but when it hits that close to home, it definitely, when somebody like Nick Alexander, who's one of the nicest kids, I don't know any of the other victims. I had never met any of them, so I can't say anything about them personally, but Nick was a sweet person, and he died trying to protect other people, and he shouldn't have. He should still be here, and he should still be being such a joyful person as he was. So it's just sad. It's just a sad thing. It could have been any of us, and that's the hardest part.
And getting to something a little bit more positive.
Yeah.
Going through the set, I mean, what song do you think not underwent the greatest transformation, but now that it's stripped down and acoustic, kind of has new meaning or new resonance for you?
The last couple shows, we've started bringing back Call Me, which was the last song on Sound of Madness, which is like by far our biggest song ever that wasn't a single. It's just kind of that, I'm a big Something Corporate fan. This band Something Corporate, and they have a song called Constantine, and it's kind of our Constantine in a way, to where it was never a single, but he sings the first line and the crowd explodes. You know what I mean? It's everyone singing along. And I think I've seen more tattoos from that song than I have any of our songs, because in the chorus it says, "Call me a sinner, call me a saint." And it's just such an amazing song. We have this thing ever since Sound of Madness, to where the last song on every record is my favorite song, because we always end the record with this dark, Call Me, Through the Ghost, and Misfits on this record. And I think that song, and we're playing a song on this tonight called Never Gonna Let Go, that was written for Amaryllis and recorded, but it didn't make it. So it kind of made the YouTube rounds, and we've started playing it. This is only like the fourth night we've played it, though.
Wow, wow. And looking back on Threat Survival, now that you've had some space from it, what can you take away from that?
I mean, I just think that everybody comes out when you make a record and go, "This is the best record we've ever made." And to me, it is the best record we've ever made. And it's not because it's the new record and I'm trying to push it on people. If you want to buy it, buy it. If you don't buy it. I mean, I think it's the best record we've ever made because we dared to step outside of that box and dared to go, okay, this isn't all modern rock radio or active rock radio. Some of this is daring and it's different, and bands aren't doing that. And my favorite band is U2 of all time, and bands that adapt and change with what's around them and keep it fresh and keep it new and don't go and make the same record for the fifth time like there's so many rock bands doing right now. There's so many bands that just come out with this, this is the formula. Okay, here's the record, and it's such bullshit. You're cheating fans, and it's the fans that buy it that kill me. And I see it. I just saw it every day, and it's just funny to watch. And it's like stepping away from the record. I think that it's daring, and I think it's bold of us to make that record, and I'm so incredibly proud of it.
Yeah. And are you guys going to be off for Christmas? You guys going to be on the road for Christmas, or what's the game plan?
We are off for Christmas. We finished this on the 19th. Everybody goes home, then we're off for a little over a month, and then we go to the UK and do the Carnival of Madness in the UK with Blackstone Cherry and Hailstorm and Highly Suspect, and then we will do a West Coast tour in March. And then then I'll take a month off. I'm having a baby. So I'm excited about that. And then we'll do a festival tour early summer, Europe in June, a big summer tour in the U.S. July and August. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. My wife's out on tour with us now, so she's 5 months. So we're looking forward to it.
So have you figured out names yet? Have you kind of?
Yeah, we're in between two. We know the gender. We're not telling anybody that. We're in between two names. We're not telling anybody those either. So.
And last question. Obviously, with family and kids and everything, do you think that you've mastered the art of balancing the family tour, album tour dynamic? Do you think you guys have?
I think so. I think it doesn't stress us out anymore. I think that we've knock on wood, wherever is wood, we've been successful enough that when our families need to come out, they come out. And it's we can afford that luxury to get our own bus and do that thing, or fly them out whenever we want. And that's a nice thing to have. I think most of us try to have around like a 2-week rule. To where I got to see my wife as much as I can, So for me, it's my wife's out on this whole tour, so it's been really nice. And then, just our kids, and we all try to be there as much as possible. Brent flies the most to see his kid because he lives in L.A. His kid lives in Florida, so it's like, I've never seen. He'll fly L.A. overnight, red eye to Orlando, get to the airport, grab the kid, fly all the way back to LA. Won't put the kid on a plane by himself, and it's like his kid's 7. So that's he does a lot of flying, but he's become such a great dad over the last little while to see. It's amazing. So all of us, I think, have found that balance to where it doesn't stress us out anymore. And we can. And we've also trying to tour a little bit smarter and not harder. That's the big thing. Is we've been doing this for 14 years now. So.
Definitely looking forward tonight.
Yeah.
And personally, I turned our kids on to Shinedown.
Oh wow, thank you.
New generation of fans.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We and I think that's why our shows are very clean. There's no cussing in any of our shows, just because we see the dynamic of the crowd, and we see grandfathers and their kids and their grandkids coming to shows, and like that means the world to us because that means our music has spoken to them. And we somebody asked me earlier, like, why don't you guys, everything's so serious on records, why don't you guys screw around? And I'm like, you know what, because some of the bands, not all the bands, some of the bands we came up with, wanted to write a bunch of songs about getting laid and and partying, and that's just not, where are they now? So it's we write songs about what we know, and we don't know any of that stuff anymore. So we just try to empower people and write songs that make people think they can take over the world, because we're 4 kids from the South who shouldn't be here, but we are, and we're blessed every day. The fact that we get to do this for a living, and people come to see our band and sing our songs, and it means the world to us. And we're not going to cheat them with a cheap version of a song.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, Simple Man.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to that, I was friends with Leon Wilkeson.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I just remember, like the day he died, they did a whole thing with
Yeah.
him to that song.
Yeah.
So and I know a lot of the guy. I think it's only Gary. I think is the only one left. I believe.
Gary is the only one left in the band. Artemis is still alive, but yeah, those are the only 2.
Right.
And Ricky was there. Ricky Medlock was there for a while.
At the very beginning.
Yeah, and then gone. And then Ed King's still alive as well, who was in the band for a long time, Sweet Home Alabama period. But yeah, we just played a couple shows with them, and they're still great.
Yeah.
And they're still great. It's like we've been opening on the same song for 15 years, but it's like still, it's so great to see, man. Like those songs, I know every song in their set by heart, so it's like, it's amazing to see, and they're still kicking it, man.
Yeah. And do you feel like you have any obligation, because now my kids know your version of Simple Man and not, before, and then I went back and I said, okay, here's the
Yeah.
Do you feel any responsibility to keep Leonard Skinner's, whatever relevancy or whatever alive?
No, not at all. I think they do that on their own. I mean, you listen to Second Helping or Street Survivors, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you listen to any of those records, man. It's like Another One from the Road. Like, you don't need we don't need to do anything for Skinner. Their legacy is fine. I think and I was just talking about this earlier with our merch guy, talking about playing the song, and we could have stopped playing the song forever ago, and we did for a while. We didn't play it for a long time, and we felt like we were cheating fans a little bit, because the stories we hear about that song are incredible, and the fact that we hear these things about these people who have these connections to these songs and our versions of them, and we just play it every night because there are nights that I don't want to play it, but once I do play it and I see the people singing, it means so much to them that we do it, and the fact that it's a cover. We're just covering someone else's greatness. It's like the fact that people latched on our version means a lot, and I think we'll keep playing. We'll keep it around for a while.
And any special New Year's plans? Do you guys have any New Year's traditions you like to do, or?
I think I'm going to be in Los Angeles at the Staples Center on New Year's Eve. Okay. I think my friend Nikki Sixx is playing his last Motley Crue show. So I think I'm going to be there for that and to support him. And I think that's the plan right now. I want to go see the last show. I've seen this. That'll be the 3rd show. I've seen 2 on this tour, this farewell tour. So, and I think it's cool, man. I think that they've changed the game for bands who do farewell tours. I think they signed a contract and they're done. They really are. They're done. And I think that's the way to do it. And you know what? You went out with the guys who started the band. You're playing in arenas. It's sold out. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I know he's really, really looking forward to 6 a.m. because he played me some demos and they're fucking unreal. They're unreal. Like how creative James and DJ and Nikki are as a band. I can't wait to hear the 2 new 6 a.m. records next year because they're going to be phenomenal. Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Zach Myers from Shinedown.